morning, Bucknutters. Welcome to the Bucknuts Morning 5 here on Friday, June 23rd, 2017. I am Dave Biddle, and I am very happy to be joined by Steve Helwagen. Steve, I'm going to do a content gallery for the site later today, ranking the best quarterbacks in Ohio State history. I have at the top Troy Smith, at number 2 Rex Kern, I have number 3 Braxton Miller, and then it gets a little sketchy from there. I mean, there's a lot of guys that are really bunched up. I'm curious what you think of that top 3, Smith, Kern, and Braxton, and then maybe how you would rank guys like the next tier, the Art Schleisters, the Terrell Pryors, Joe Germain, Bobby Hoying. Maybe give me your, I'm going to make mine a top 12 list. Maybe give me your top 7 in order, top Buckeye quarterbacks.
Oh, man, that is so hard. I don't even think you've mentioned J.T. Barrett, who is on par to have every record under the sun for being a Ohio State quarterback. If he,
I have him 9th. Spoiler alert! Yeah, I have him 9th. Yep.
Oh my goodness. Well, how do you want to rate these guys? Do you want to base it on championships won, which I don't think you mentioned Craig Krenzel either.
Just your opinion. Krenzel's going to be the first one I have. He's going to be number 12. Just your opinion. Your opinion maybe in the top 5, top 7. Just no hard and fast criteria. Just very opinionated. Just Helwagen's take. Who are the top 7?
Okay, well, I'd have to arrange them, but I agree, your top 3 are pretty solid with Troy Smith, Rex Kern, Braxton Miller. Art Schleister, obviously, I think he's the pioneer probably of the modern era of passing the football at Ohio State. I think he's got to be up there. He's got records that are still unbroken, may never be broken, and he played, what would it be, 40 years ago. So that's pretty impressive. Terrell Pryor was a freak, no question about it. His passing numbers probably not going to correspond with a lot of these other guys, but what he did and the way that they won, I mean, he was pretty impressive. Joe Germain, played on 2 Big Ten championship teams, led him to that Rose Bowl, an eyelash of playing for the national championship. That Michigan State loss will always haunt him. And Bobby Hoying, just, the one big year that 2 big years, 93 and 95, couldn't beat Michigan. So that kind of clouds his legacy a little bit. J.T. Barrett is going to, come away from this season, I think, owning a lot of the records that Art Schleister's had. I'd say those are the top 7 or 8 right there. And how are you going to rank them? Statistically, wins, championships,
everything.
I don't know.
Everything. And I'm counting Terrell Pryor's junior season too. And I think even diehard Buckeye fans would be surprised if they looked up Terrell Pryor's passing stats his junior year, his final year at Ohio State. Everybody remembers Terrell Pryor being a great runner. Terrell Pryor had really good passing stats his junior year. This is what I find it fascinating when I'm trying to compare. Like I said, the top 3 were pretty easy to me with Troy Smith, Rex Kern, and Braxton Miller. And then, how do you compare Terrell Pryor to Joe Germain? That's a tough one. I think I'm going to end up flipping those. I think I'm going to have Terrell a little bit over Germain. But it's so tough because they're such different players. But if you had to pick just between those 2, let's focus on Terrell Pryor against Joe Germain. Who do you rank higher?
Oh, man.
I know it's so tough, but it's fun.
I think what hurts Joe Germain's cause for that is that he split time with Stanley Jackson the first 2 years, 96 and 97. And, we'll say whatever that was. I think the coaches wanted to maintain some balance, let's just say, within the clubhouse. And that's why Jacko played quite a bit. Wherein Joe Germain, there was a game at Penn State that they lost that Jackson started, hardly played. And then Germain came in and threw for 350 yards, who
against Mike McQueary. Yeah, number one Penn State with quarterback Mike McQueary at the time, who had become infamous later in life. But I remember that game was awesome. That Joe Germain came in and just throwing the ball all over the lot. I think Ohio State almost had 400 passing yards.
Yeah, I would agree with you, Pryor over Germain, but not by much. And take all the off the field stuff out of it. One was a Boy Scout and the other guy was
not a Boy Scout.
Number 35 on the list of Big Ten icons, a man from the hilltop Mr. Eddie Rife. Took down the great Ohio State football program. So, yeah, I don't know. That was what I would say on that.
I like that. I like it. Good stuff there, Steve. Kerry Coombs getting a promotion, maybe just a fancy title. That's probably what it is. I don't know if his duties are really going to change. I mean, Greg Schiano is running this defense, but I like that they're giving Kerry some respect. It's a resume builder. He is now the assistant defensive coordinator, in addition to his duties as cornerbacks coach, special teams coordinator. So they gave him that fancy title, assistant defensive coordinator, not co-defensive coordinator. So it really means nothing, but I don't have a problem with these fancy titles. These guys, it's a sign of respect, because not everybody on the staff has a fancy title. Most of the guys do. Most of the guys, like Tony Alford is assistant head coach for offense. I mean, that's really getting creative with the fancy title that means nothing there. But then you have guys like Zach Smith, Greg Studrawa, Billy Davis, who are just position coaches. They don't have any of the fancy titles like Larry Johnson is assistant head coach, Schiano is associate head coach, Ryan Day, co-offensive coordinator. But just what do you make of Kerry Coombs being the assistant defensive coordinator, Steve?
Well, it's kind of like that superpowers movie. If everybody has superpowers, then nobody has superpowers, basically. And I think that's kind of what you're looking at. I think it's just a way to recognize his loyalty. He's been there since the beginning with the coach. And, his job performance. I mean, you put 2 or 3 cornerbacks, 2, I guess, each year into the NFL draft. That's pretty impressive. What's it been? 3 or 4 over the last 2 years have gone, and I guess it'd be 3. So, I guess it'd be 4. So, any rate, I'm very impressed with what he's done and been a big part of building the defense. And I think it was his loyalty, not leaving to go to Cincinnati, which was talked about quite a bit. And I just think that. It's fine. This staff is very accomplished and a solid group, and this is another indicator of that they're all special. So, this is an all-star team of assistant coaches, and you hope that that's going to manifest itself on the field this fall.
In hoops recruiting, it looked like it was going to be a very low-ranked recruiting class for Ohio State. The 2017 class, it just had 2 kids in it, and only one that was ranked high, in Caleb Wesson, the other being Braxton Beverly. But with Kyle Young joining the class, Ohio State finishes with the number 36 class in the country, which doesn't sound good, but actually is a pretty solid class when you consider, how many college basketball teams are out there, how many Power 5 programs are out there, and we're going to finish somewhere in the 70s, I believe. So they're going to finish with the number 36 class in the country and the number 6 class in the Big Ten. And there's not a class in the Big Ten that's ranked higher than 24th. Purdue has the best class at number 24. So you have a lot of teams that are bunched up there from 24 to 36, and now the Buckeyes are one of those teams, one of those 6 teams bunched up there from 24 to 36. So, I think this is as good as you could have hoped for it with Chris Holtmann coming in this late. He inherits Caleb Wesson, the number 1 player in Ohio, number 6 center in the country. Then he's able to get Kyle Young, the number 2 player in Ohio, to flip. This is about as best as Ohio State fans could have hoped for with this recruiting class, I think, at this late stage.
Yeah, I would agree. Kyle Young is a tremendous get for Ohio State. I would have thought, had he signed with them originally, that it would have been a big coup. He's a guy who really came on his junior and senior years at Massillon Jackson, and really last spring he was playing on the Nike circuit, and people really started to come on to what he could do. And he can do a little bit of everything. He's got 3-point range. He can drive the ball to the basket. He can finish at the rim. He can rebound. So he can do a little bit of everything. And I think that, he is going to be, I don't know that he's going to start for Ohio State this year as a freshman, but I think he's definitely a big part of the plans. And when you only have 9 guys who are on the roster right now, with Derek Funderburk, his status kind of pending at number 10, they're going to need an all-hands-on-deck approach. I mean, when you look at trying to win games this winter with 9 guys, it's going to be difficult. But Kyle Young fell into their lap. Obviously, this staff had done a great job recruiting him to Butler, and it was just a natural, I think, for him and for them to inquire about him coming to Ohio State.
All right, back to football before I let you go. Very simple. Regular season wins for Ohio State in 2017. What's Ohio State's record going to be in the regular season? What's your prediction, Steve?
Well, I'm going to say 12-0, then 13-0. I'm at a loss to figure out which team on this schedule is going to beat Ohio State. At the same time, I don't necessarily believe this is a pat hand. I mean, I think that they're going to have to go out on the field and earn it every week. I mean, you have a lot of new starters that maybe not as many as last year, obviously, when it was pretty well picked clean by the NFL draft and the underclassmen who left. But there are some areas, the secondary, the offensive line, the wide receiver core, that really need to make a quantum leap from last year to this year, from the spring to this season. And I think that it'll be interesting to watch those areas grow and develop. They got to find somebody at running back to provide support for Mike Weber, and J.K. Dobbins could be that guy. It's hard to say right now, but those are some problem areas I see. But those areas, they bother me more than anybody that's on their schedule. Now, you know, Baker Mayfield's going to come into Ohio Stadium, and we've seen opposing quarterbacks come in and light things up. I mean, Gunnar Kiel a few years ago from Cincinnati, and different guys here and there, but I just think that it stacks up well for Ohio State to run the table, have to play at Michigan at the end. And you know, the thing about Michigan, they lost everybody, kind of like what Ohio State did last year. And yet people still have them in the top 10. I think that's because of the quarterback, Spate, who's back, the coach, Jim Harbaugh, and the belief that he has recruited so well in the last 2 or 3 years that from a talent standpoint, there won't be a huge drop-off from the guys who left Michigan. It was mostly a senior-laden group, like 30-some seniors, and a lot of those guys were starters. They didn't lose many underclassmen, Jabril Peppers and maybe 1 or 2 others, I think. But, yeah, I think the hope is that the freshmen, the sophomores, the juniors who are going to be filling in for those people who left will be just as talented, if not more talented, better prospects coming out of high school. But the issue is they don't have experience. And by the 12th game, playing at home against Ohio State, you would figure they'll have a lineup in place and have that experience, and maybe that'll help them close the gap a little bit on Ohio State. But as of right now, I can't see it. So, I mean, J.T. Barrett, you know, what's he going for? His 3rd, 4th, 5th win against them. So, yeah, I think it's going to be a fun year. I think I look for Ohio State to run the table and get into the playoff as the 1 or the 2 seed, 13-0.
Great wisdom, as always, from Steve Helwagen. Thank you very much, Steve. I appreciate it. And thanks to all the listeners out there for tuning into the show. I appreciate that. Hope everyone has a great day and a great weekend. Let's hear that Buckeye swag, best damn band in the land.